Do you always feel so tired? You wish you had more time in a day, more energy to do all the things you need to do, but no matter what you try, sleeping more, stopping caffeine, you can't have more energy. You're like a zombie endlessly walking through life with no energy. A couple months back, I was always tired. And when I mean always tired, I'd sleep enough, yet I would need to take 2 naps per day. It was killing my productivity, driving me insane, cause I wanted to do more, but no matter what I tried, I simply couldn't get more energy. I was wondering if I wasn't broken, if something wasn't wrong with me. I did a sleep study to figure out if I had sleep apnea, a blood test to see if I had any nutrient deficiencies, and everything turned out to be completely fine. I was healthy on paper, yet I had no energy, but I couldn't keep wondering, why am I literally always lethargic? What's going on? And then I discovered the reason why I was always tired was because of my habits. After a couple months of trying out different habits, I have more energy than ever. I think you can sense it in my voice. The first habit might be surprising, but it's spending more time doing the things that you love. It's scientifically proven that whenever we engage in an activity that we love, it energizes us. A lot of people think that exercising, lifting weights, running would actually take away energy from you instead of giving you energy. But what I've noticed personally is that because I love these activities, it actually energizes me. After an intense weightlifting session, a hot and cold shower, I feel ready to crush the day. That's why every single day I get up at 6 and I start my day with morning exercise. Now it doesn't have to be a physical activity, let's say. For you it could be reading, it could be a creative task like drawing, writing. At the end of the day, life is short, so we should at least spend some time every single day to do activities that we love, even if they're not the most profitable or the most productive things. But you can even take this one step further. Studies have shown time and time again that people who genuinely find enjoyment in the process, they get far better results on the long term than people who simply drag their feet through everything, hate the process, but only do it for the end result. These people, they almost never achieve anything. A couple years ago, I was looking at all these people on social media showing me their 5 a.m. morning workouts and their 10-hour workdays. I was wondering how the hell they were able to do that, and especially every single day. Did they have some kind of superpower? Were they just born with more willpower? Back then I was lazy, undisciplined, I couldn't stick to a workout plan or to a diet, I wasn't productive, I'd only be able to work a couple hours a day at best. My mind just couldn't focus back then. But do you want to know what's the funny thing? I've been able to radically transform myself. Now I'm exactly like those people who get up at 5 and go to the gym and work 10 hours a day. Yet if you saw me back then, you would have never thought I'd be capable of doing exactly like those people I saw on social media, and that's because it's in every single one of us. But the trick is this, you have to love it, otherwise you'll never be able to stick to it. Most of us, we will spend most of our lives working. That's the activity that occupies most of our time. Yet most people, they do jobs that they don't like. Growing up, I saw my own father getting crushed by a job he hated. He had many dreams. He had wanted to be a cop, a comedian, yet he never actually followed those dreams, and so he ended up in a job that he hated, that was draining the life energy out of him. And that's typically why I love the internet and social media so much, because nowadays it allows people to make a living doing what they love, following their passion. Back then that was unheard of. A couple decades ago that was impossible. You would have to do something by default to pay the bills, to survive. You couldn't do something that you love. It was only reserved to the privileged, to the elite, to people receiving a massive inheritance. But nowadays you can literally get paid doing exactly what you love. Moving on to the next habit, which is daily sunlight exposure. Honestly, this habit should probably be the first on our list, because it's truly this habit that helped me to have so much energy that nowadays I don't even need to take naps anymore. In fact, it's been months and I haven't taken a single nap, whereas before I would have needed to take 2 naps per day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The truth is, most of us spend most of our time indoors, either because we're working or even when we're relaxing. Most people, they watch Netflix, they're not gonna go and do that outside. So for most of us, we are not getting nearly enough sunlight exposure on a daily basis, and that is why we're so tired. Countless studies have shown time and time again that in the winter, people experience more symptoms of depression because there's less sunlight. I mean, the impact on sunlight on your mood, it's insane. That's typically why during the spring, more people feel happier. They feel more joyful because they go outside more, the sun is shining, it's not too hot outside, it's a great season. So what I started to do is to go outside every single day. Now ideally you want to do this in the early morning. If you work nights or if you have to be awake later during the day, you can do it in the afternoon. But for most people, you want to do it as soon as possible, as close to waking as possible. So what I do personally is that I get up at 6, I go to the gym, and then when I'm done, I go outside. If it's a bright, sunny, clear day, I'm gonna stay outside for 5 minutes, up to 10 minutes. That's enough to get the sunlight I need. If it's a cloudy or rainy day, I'm gonna stay between 15 to 30 minutes outside, soaking up the sunlight. Now you have to be outside. You can't do it through a window or through the windshield of a car. It simply doesn't work because the UV is blocked by the windows. So you've got to be outside and your skin has to be directly exposed to natural sunlight. Honestly, try this habit if you're not doing it already. It will only change your life, I can promise you that. Moving on to habit number 3, which is deep downtime. The truth is, if you listen to the hustle culture people, just like I did a couple years ago, you won't even achieve anything. A couple years ago, I fell for the hustle culture trap. I believed that if I worked every waking hour, I would become more successful. Because surely if I put in so much effort, so much hard work, so many sacrifices, then I would be more deserving of success. So I could only become more successful, reap more rewards as a result. But oh boy, I was wrong. Most people don't understand that in this universe, everything is interconnected. So in your life, every aspect of your life, whether it's health, fitness, relationships, work, everything is connected. If you hate your job, chances are you come back to your family, you're in a bad mood. So now the ambience at home, it's not that great. It's not that light. Chances are because you're irritated, you enter into more arguments with people. Because you feel drained at work, now you don't take care of your health and of your fitness. You don't have the energy for it. So every single aspect of your life, from your health to your relationships, start to deteriorate because your work is draining you. Whereas imagine the opposite scenario for a minute. Let's say your work energizes you. Now you come back home, you feel great. You have a good relationship with your family. You've got some extra energy, so you go hit the gym. You build a body that you like. Every aspect of your life becomes better. The truth is when you work hard, you need breaks. You can't be grinding 24/7. It's not possible. I went from believing I needed to work 12 hours a day, even on the weekends, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to actually become successful, to realizing that the longer I worked, the harder I worked, the more breaks, the more vacations I'd actually need to take. Like I remember at some point in high school, we had a class that I really loved. It was about economics. And the teacher asked us this very interesting question. He showed us a study which showed that people who made more money went on vacation more often. So he asked us the following question. Do you think that these people, the executives, the CEOs who make 6 figures a year or even above, do you think they take breaks, vacations more often because they can afford to do so or because they need to do so, because they work so hard? Nobody thought about this before, but it only makes sense. I mean, now that I experience it myself, I can attest to it. The harder you work, the longer you work, the more intense your work is, the more breaks and vacations you'll need. What I personally like to do is to work for very intense periods of time, let's say a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then I'm gonna take a week off completely. That is how I've been able to achieve a lot and especially fast. Now you can also apply the concept of deep downtime on a daily basis. For instance, at the end of the day, keep a couple hours to just relax, to unwind, to meditate, to read a non-fiction book, to go to the sauna. It could be working out. Anything that makes you relieve stress and get your mind off of work. Because if you want to have good sleep, if you want to have energy for the next day, if you're just thinking about work all the time until the last minute that you go to sleep, you're not gonna have great sleep. You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night thinking about work. Instead, you want to relax your mind, calm your body, and prepare it for a deep restorative sleep. Now, the next habit is meditation. Now, even as a kid, I knew the many benefits of meditation. Everyone was speaking about it. I saw people write books on the topic. Yet for some reason, I just couldn't get myself to do it. I've always had a very active mind. I have ideas constantly coming from every possible angle. So I wondered how meditation could actually benefit me. And even later on in life, I'm just able to sit down at my computer to focus to do the work. So I wondered, how could I benefit from meditation? I don't really need to teach myself to focus. I can already do it. So for the longest time ever, I just brushed it off and I simply didn't pay attention to it. I heard people on the internet and even in real life preaching its benefits, but I simply thought it wouldn't apply to me. Except I realized at some point, because I was working so much, doing so many things, like I would constantly do something. I would never just sit there and do nothing. I would start to feel rushed no matter what I'd do. I'd start to feel this ball of anxiety because I had to get stuff done extremely fast. So now what I personally do is that every single day, in the evening, before I go to sleep, I'm actually going to meditate for 5, 10, up to 30 minutes sometimes. I focus on my breath. I try to calm myself down. Sometimes I feel all tense in my body. It's quite difficult. But then as I get deeper and deeper into the meditation session, it becomes easier to relax. It teaches me to focus on being in the present moment because I'm always setting goals, always working to build a better future. So I'm always living in the future. That's especially relevant if you're a busy executive, a business owner, if you're constantly trying to build a better life. But the future is uncertain. The only moment that truly exists is right now. The past is gone. And we oftentimes make the mistake of thinking we'll be happier in the future when we have this thing or that thing, when we've got a house, when we get a raise. Except that as human beings, we are programmed to never be satisfied. The law of evolution states that we need to constantly do better. That's why perfection is a myth. It doesn't even exist because we can always make things better. If you look back at some piece of work that you did 10 years ago, you'd realize it's not that great because you evolved from that moment. Now you can do so much better. What doesn't evolve decays and dies. So if you struggle with anxiety, intrusive thoughts, you can't focus, your mind is all over the place, or if like me you felt constantly rushed, try meditation. Now start small. Start with 5 minutes a day, then work your way up to 20 minutes. You don't need to meditate 30 minutes or an hour every single day. If you can simply manage to work your way up to meditating 15 to 20 minutes per day, you will get all of the benefits of meditation. But most people won't see the benefits of meditation because they do it for like a couple days, but then they quit. It takes time to see results, just like with any anything else that's worth it in life. If you want to build a great, a strong, a muscular physique, it's gonna take time. It's not going to happen overnight. If you want to build a profitable business that will allow you to be free, it's gonna take time. You won't become an overnight multimillionaire. So why would you expect meditation to be any different? Moving on to habit number 5, which is daily exercise. A couple years ago, I was skinny, I felt weak, I looked weak. I wanted to change. I had always looked up to the fitness models and I wanted to look like them. I wanted to have the big muscles, the visible abs. I wanted to look phenomenal. I've always been a fan of art. I've always liked things which looked beautiful. So I wanted to make my body into a work of art. So just like the sculptor would make a beautiful sculpture out of marble, I would carve my own body to look the way I wanted it to look. I was gonna build a Greek god physique. And after years of hard work, of perseverance, of listening to the wrong people, falling for the wrong kind of advice, then learning new things, I finally achieved it. I've received lots of compliments on my strength and on my physique. I've had people, men and women, ask me for advice literally almost every day at the gym. It increased my confidence level like nothing else. But not just that, it increased my energy levels to a level I couldn't even think of. When you're a beginner, it's true that exercising will typically take away energy from you. But when your body gets used to it, it's gonna do the complete opposite. It will give you energy. Because if you're just sitting around all day, you're in your bed, on the couch, watching Netflix, scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram, guess what? You're telling your body, we don't need to move. We are in a passive state, so we don't need energy, so you'll feel tired, you'll feel lethargic. I mean, I'm sure you've done this before. You laid in bed all day, watched Netflix or watched television, and at the end of the day, you've done nothing. Like you haven't moved much physically, yet for some reason you feel drained, you feel exhausted. That's because you didn't give your body a reason to give you energy. And your body is smart, it wants to preserve as much energy as possible. For survival reasons, we're not programmed to be running around for no reason 24/7. Back then food was scarce, we didn't have a fridge, we couldn't just go to the kitchen and get something to eat. We'd need to go and hunt, to expend energy, to then get food, to eat calories and get energy. So your body is programmed to do as little as it can. That's why most people don't want to exercise. It goes against what we're programmed to do. Unless we have to, we won't. But I personally love starting my day with morning exercise. I'm up at 6, I go to the gym, and there I do an intense session for an hour up to an hour and a half. When I'm back home, I take a warm and then cold shower. It really wakes me up. I mean, after that, I feel ready to crush my to-do list. I don't feel like going and watching Netflix or being on TikTok. I couldn't care less. I feel ready to conquer the world, to make my dreams come true. And not only is it going to increase your physical energy, but it's also going to increase your psychological and your emotional energy. A lot of people only think about the physical type of energy, but a lot of people, they're just drained mentally, emotionally, not so much physically. So when you build a better body, you start to love the way that you look. You start to love yourself. So naturally, your self-confidence goes up. And guess what this does? It increases your emotional and psychological energy. Now the next habit is social interactions. Now you may wonder, how could social interactions actually give me energy and especially make me limitless? I can tell you for a fact that if at certain key turning points in my life hadn't had certain conversations, I would not be making this video today. Conversations with others can inspire you, guide you in the right direction. But not just that, the simple fact of spending time with like-minded people can recharge your batteries. You can have a laugh with your friends. Afterwards you feel great, you've got energy. Whereas if you hang out with the wrong people, toxic people, you will feel drained out of all of your energy. Now it's true that extroverts typically recharge their batteries by spending more time with others, by interacting with people. Whereas for introverts, it's usually the opposite. They recharge their batteries by spending time alone, simply focusing on their hobbies. But even then, even if you're like me, an introvert, you can still benefit from social interactions, and especially with like-minded people. It's hard to move forward when you feel all alone, but when you're surrounded by the right community, people who push you to do better, who inspire you to do more, you grow so much faster. I mean, the first time I went to a commercial gym, I saw all those big guys around me. It was in Portugal, in the summer, in the evening. Back then I couldn't bench 2 plates. I saw that and I was impressed. I felt jealous, sure. I felt envious of these guys, bigger than me, stronger than me, but I let it inspire me. So I went on to work harder and to do better. And now at the gym, I'm the guy that people look up to. But I was put basically in this environment with other people who worked hard to build a better body, to be fitter, to be healthier. And because I was in the right environment, I worked harder. It energized me. Now the truth is that growing up, I had no one around me that was really like me. I felt lonely. I felt like an outlier. I was doing things that most people didn't even think about. I was taking care of my health. I mean, people made fun of me for eating a salad instead of eating the burgers, the fries that the school made. So people are literally poisoning themselves. Yet, I'm the one who's weird for eating good, healthy food. And a lot of people, they wouldn't be able to handle peer pressure like that. So they'd cave in. They'd forget their goals and their dreams just to fit in with the rest. But what if instead, you were surrounded by people who aim to do better? That's why my team and I have created the Fast Lane Club. We not only teach you how to make more money, how to improve your social skills, how to change your life, how to build the body of your dreams, but you also get to network and to connect with like-minded people. You could even meet your best friend today if you join. If you're interested, I invite you to click on the first link in the description below. Now with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get to work.